Good Saturday afternoon to everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope your week went well. We finished off the June 3rd American League schedule on Friday, so Saturday we're going to let represent the National League game from this date. And on June the 3rd, the game I picked out is Houston at Chicago from Wrigley Field. Wrigley field dimensions: singles are 1 to 9, home runs are 1 to 14. On the real, on the simulation that's gone by Strat-O-Matic, because I'm letting Strat-O-Matic sim everything, except for these games. So Houston in the sim is 30 and 20. Chicago in the sim is 26 and 24. Chicago in the real game won this game 22-7. They knocked out the starter Bob Knepper in the first inning, scoring 9 runs. That was in the real game. Hopefully, we don't have that in this game, but heck, you never know. All right, so starting pitchers for today's game: Bob Knepper, the left-hander, against Rick Sutcliffe. And another exciting thing is the pitchers get to hit, so I'm very happy about that. Bob Knepper will be using pitcher hitting card number 1, and Rick Sutcliffe will be using pitcher hitting card number 3. So very happy about the pitchers hitting. To me, that's more like real baseball, but I'm an old fuddy-dud when it comes to that. So Rick Sutcliffe will finish up the warm-up tosses. This is an afternoon game, so obviously there's not going to be a ceremonial first sip because my coffee drinking is done for the day long before I came up here. I will go ahead and bring this game up on the Strat-O-Matic computer so I can score it as I play it, and that way I don't have to deal with putting it into the game later. Plus it also keeps me straight, make sure I don't give somebody 4 outs or anything weird like that, or cheat somebody, only give them 2 outs, by accident. So by doing it this way, I think it keeps me straight, keeps me on track. So Sutcliffe on the real season, 1987, ended up going 18 and 10 with a 368 earned run average. On the simulated replay, he's 2 and 4 with a 580 earned run average. So we're going to go ahead and get this game going. I got the Chicago Cub themed dice, if you want to call it that, and we'll get this thing underway. Hey, Kevin. Yes, factors are the ballpark factors. That's the only factor for Wrigley Field, is that each stadium has the ballpark factors. So in this case, singles are 1 to 9 for both left and right-handed, and home runs are 1 to 14 left and right-handed. You could do the weather. I just use the standard ballpark factors, but you could use weather and see if the wind's blowing in, blowing out, whatever. That's another possibility. Certainly that can be used for that, depending on how detailed you want to get. But the National League, for me, I'm only playing 1 game a day, letting the computer do everything else. I'm playing every game on the American League, so this is just an aside. So I don't want to get too deep in the woods with that. So I'm trying to keep it. I don't even keep the weather factors for the American League. I just use the standard one because that's all I have. I don't have the weather effects chart. I guess I could go on the website and get it, but I'd rather just have the paper copy with me and not have to worry about it. All right, so Sutcliffe against Knepper. Sutcliffe has a 0 catcher hold quotient, and so does Knepper. So neither pitcher catcher is going to affect anything. Whatever the stolen base chances are, that's what they're going to be. Hello, Ben, Dr. D. Are you ready in earnest? Good to see all of you. Hope your Saturday is going well. And Mr. Billy Hatcher steps in the 1987 season. Real world, Billy Hatcher hit 296 with 11 homers and 63 driven in. On the replay, some reason he has no home runs yet. In 187 at bats, he's got 0 home runs and only 12 runs batted in, but he is hitting 320. So we'll get that is true. Are you ready? It certainly is. But we're going to say it. Whatever the random chance came up, this is what we're going to have. Hey, Joel. Good to see you, Joel. Or if you got to go, that's fine. And I'm certainly glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing it. It's become a morning routine for me as well, and I really, really do enjoy it. Now, next on June the 4th, there's only 4 American League games scheduled. So Monday through Thursday, I'll have a game of that. And on Friday, we'll do the National League game, which on June the 4th will be San Diego at Montreal. That'll be the game in the National League. Make sure I got the dice tray all the way up so you don't miss anything. All right, so let's get this game rolling. Billy Hatcher. 4-7, and that's going to be a ground ball second base X. So right off the bat, we got an X chance. And the X chance is going to go to Mr. Ryan Sandberg. He's a 1E13. So as a 1, we know he's going to get to it. We don't have to even check the range. We're just strictly checking here. And he is an E13. So the only errors are 14, 3, and 18. As long as he avoids those, he'll be fine. And that is a 13. He barely did it. That's a 14, but that's a 13. So Sandberg, possible bad hop on the rough infield at Wrigley Field, and still manages to make the play. That's why, in my mind, Ryan's and people will disagree with you. They'll pick Joe Morgan or somebody else, but in my mind, Ryan Sandberg is the best second baseman of all time. Here's Bill Doran. Doran hitting .358, 12 homers, 37 driven in. He hit .283 real world. And of course, that's totally subjective. And I don't even go back to Roger. I mean, I'm talking modern times. I don't know anything about the guys that played in 1920. I'm just talking about guys that played in the 70s to current. Then you count offense, defense, power, speed, everything. I would give it to Rhino. Let's see here. 5-4, switch hitter batting left. That's an in-home run chance, 1-8, and that's a 4, and that's gone. Bill Doran does have normal power. So Bill Doran says, what about me at second base? He hits a home run. We'll look at it again. It's a solo shot. Maybe he caught a breeze out towards right field in the bleachers there. Doran with his 13th home run of the replay. I tell you what, he only had 16 real world in 600 at bats. This is bat 205, and he's already got 13, so he's way ahead of the pace. But we'll look at it again. 5-4, switch hitter batting left, in home run 1-8. That's a 4. He's normal power. It is 1-0 Astros. That'll bring up third baseman Denny Walling. And let's put the home run in the computer. I don't want to get. Sometimes I get lagging on the computer compared to what's on the score sheet. Walling hitting .277 on the replay. He hit .283 real world. 6-3, and that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1-9, but that's an 18. So he will line it to second base on the failed ballpark. Base hit. 2 down. And I'm not going to get into a 10-point drawn-out argument over why I think Sandberg is the best second baseman of all time. It's just my opinion. If you think Joe Morgan or somebody else is, your opinion is certainly valid, because it's not a clear-cut thing. It's kind of maybe because I saw Sandberg more than I did Morgan. I don't know. But I know Morgan got to play his games on AstroTurf, and Sandberg had to deal with that crappy infield in Chicago, and he still won Gold Gloves. All right, here's Glenn Davis hitting .273 on the replay at .251 real world. 4-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. And again, that's Sandberg. So again, we don't need the D20. We know he's going to get to it. E13 and the 7 is no problem at all. And that will end the inning. But the home run from Bill Doran gives the Astros a 1-0 lead. Hello, Kenny. Good to see you. I know Chuck is a Tiger fan. If he wants to say that Lou Whitaker is the best of all time, go for it. But I think that's kind of laughable. Very good player. I think Whitaker should be in the Hall of Fame, but certainly not, I don't think, up to snuff with Sandberg or Morgan. But like I said, it's all opinion. So no right or wrong answers there. All right, so Bob Knepper is on the mound, and Knepper on the real season had a rough year. He was 8-17 with a 5.27 ERA. It was 4-3 real world. And I seem to remember something about Knepper having an incident with a female reporter in the locker room, but I don't know a whole lot about it. But it seems like that's where I remember him being, having the most knowledge of him was something to do with the female reporter. I might have to Google it, but I thought he had something going on where he said something offensive to a female reporter or something like that. But I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Knepper that would be talking about that. Anyway, here's Dernier. 6-5, and that's an in-home run chance for Dernier. That's a 1, and that's gone. Bob Dernier. Yeah, Maz shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame. He got there because he had a home run in the 60 World Series, and it took 30 years for the Veterans Committee to put him in. So that if it takes 30 years to get in, you obviously didn't belong in. So he should not be there. He's what Robert calls the Hall of the Very Good. He's a one-trick pony with his defense. That's it. All right, so 1-17, it's gone with that double die being a 1, no question about it. So Bob Dernier homers to lead off the bottom of the first and tie the game. So maybe the wind, in theory, is blowing out at Wrigley. That's the 4th home run of the season for Bob Dernier. How are those cards, Ben? Are they in good quality? Are they like typical quality for the regular, like the standard inside pitch cards from before? Are they pretty much the same card stock and same quality? I'm assuming. Oh, you printed your own on PDF. Okay, got it. That's right. You did say printed and cut. You did say that. I'm assuming that the printed ones are probably the same, though. I don't know. All right, here is Ryan Sandberg. He's hitting 264 on the replay. 5 homers, 24 driven in. He had 294 real world. Against Knepper, 110. That's a single. Single for Sandberg, and he's looking to run. Needs a 6 to get the lead. And that is a 6, so he gets the lead. It's a 19, being held as a 17. 1-17, he's going to steal it on a 1-17. And he's in there, stolen base for Sandberg. I mean, just to add fuel to the Sandberg fire, I mean, he's got his own game named after him. Remember the Sandberg game in 1984? It's called the Sandberg game for a reason. I don't know many players that have their own game named after him. All right, here's the Hawk, Andre Dawson, the most horrible MVP choice of all time. How do you win the most valuable player on the last place team? Best hitter, yes. Most valuable player, no. That should have gone to Ozzie Smith or Jack Clark or somebody like that. But that was a farce giving Andre Dawson the MVP. 1-4, and that's a ballpark single check, and he's going to get a base hit. 1 star, though, so Sandberg has to stop at second base. And this here at Wrigley, this game could get out of hand real quick. Dawson needs a 6 to get his lead. Doesn't get it, he'll hold. And that brings up Jody Davis. Infield looking back for the double play. They need to get outs. They don't have any outs yet. It's Jody Davis. Wait a minute. Why is Jody Davis up there? All right, I missed out on something on the computer. I've already messed something up, so let me go back and look at what I did or didn't do. I may have double done something here. So let me just double check and see what happened here. All right, home run, single. Okay, I didn't give the stolen base. Somehow it came up as a single for Dawson instead of a stolen base for Sandberg. So a couple of quick undos will take care of all of this, and we'll get back to where it should be. All right, so Sandberg steals the base. Sometimes on the Strat computer, you got hit S so many times. All right, now the single by Dawson. All right, now we're set. Jody Davis. Jody Davis. And they're looking for the double play. 4-8, and they don't get it. They might get a double, though. 1-12, they were looking for the double play, and they got a double instead. Oh, almost circles in the sand. Hope it doesn't show up all the time. 4 there is a double 2 stars. So Knepper, who got knocked out in the first inning of the real game with 9 runs allowed, might be in the same boat right here as he gives up an RBI double to make it 2-1. Second and third, still nobody out for Brian Dayette. Hello, Triple G. Good to see you. So Dayette, infield is now in for the Astros. 2-9, and that is a ground ball shortstop A. So with the infield in, that will just freeze the runners. One away, first out. First out for Knepper. And that'll take it to Keith Moreland at third base. And I forgot to put Knepper's defensive ratings in. He is a 2E16. Just saw that. Forgot to put that in there. All right. So here's Keith Moreland. Brian Dayette, former Yankee farmhand. Here is Moreland. Infield still in. 3-9. And that's a single 2 stars. There's a clutch there, but there's only one out, so the clutch doesn't take that hit away. It's a 2-run single for Keith Moreland, and it's 4-1 Cubs. 2-run single for Moreland. And that'll bring up Shawan Dunston. Or Sean Dunston. I'm not sure if it's Shawan or Sean. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I think Harry Carey called him Sean Dunston, but you know that's Harry Carey, so you can't go by that. So 4-3, and it's a ground ball pitcher X. That's Knepper. He is a 2E16. Hey, Jimmy Jam. 2 and a 13, he'll get to that. The E16 is the question, and that's a 14. That could be an issue. E16, there is no 14, though. He got a lucky break there, did Knepper, and that will end the inning. So only gives up an Abraham Lincoln 4-score inning. In the real game, he gave up 9 runs in the first inning. So he can continue to the second now, since he didn't give up 9 runs. We'll allow it. Top of the second, Sutcliffe now with a 4-1 lead to protect. And Kevin Bass, the batter. Okay, Jimmy Jam, I don't see Chuck around, so I think you're okay with the trivia. Go right ahead. Hopefully you're not carrying my broadcast now with this trivia question, because that would be terrible. But you go right ahead, Jimmy. Lay it on us. Unless you want to wait to the bottom of the inning or whatever. But if you got it ready, fire away. While let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. That was only the second out. I got to go back and fix this. All right, who was the first switch hitter in the middle? 100 hits from both sides of the plate in the same year. Oh, that would have been Gary Templeton, I think, for the Cardinals in either 77 or 78. But I'm thinking it's Gary Templeton. Yeah, it's only 2 outs. So the Strat computer is keeping me straight. So, but the ground out was to the pitcher. So I'm trying to remember what I rolled to see if it could have been a double play. May have been a double play instead, because he's a range rating of 2. It was a 13. Yep, that is a double play. Okay, so I'm staying corrected. It is actually a 1-4-3 DP is what we end up with. So I got to fix that on the computer. Yeah, I just remember you're hitting right in my wheelhouse there, Jimmy Jam, as far as now, if you give me a trivia question from the 1940s, I won't have a clue. All right, so let me fix this to the double play. For some reason, that's why I have the Strat computer up. It keeps me straight. 1-4-3. Okay. Now we're ready to go, and Kevin Bass is up, and the inning is over. So fortunately, that was corrected and didn't affect anything. So here is Kevin Bass. 5-6 for Bass against Sutcliffe. 1-9 is a double. That's a 7. So Kevin Bass with a double leads things off. Back on the Astros. This could be a high-scoring affair, you could say. Here's Jose Cruz, left fielder. 6-5, and that's a ground ball to second. That'll get the runner to third with 1 out. And these two teams, in the ballparks they play in, they're diametrically opposed. I mean, a ball game in Wrigley Field and a ball game in the Astrodome, it's like 2 separate games. So I guess each team builds their team to fit their ballpark. So the Astros went with speed, Cubs went with power. All right, so runner at third, 1 out for Craig Reynolds. And the Cubs will play the infield in. They did not want to give up a cheap run. 1-6, and they pay for it. Ground ball, shortstop A with a plus sign, so it cost them by playing the infield in. Thought they could get away with it, but they didn't. Base hit, Craig Reynolds. Oh, interesting, Jeff. Interesting. Must be taking up rental space in his head. I think he's got Demos derangement syndrome, the way people say people have Trump derangement syndrome. He's got Demos derangement syndrome. All right. Let's see. The Reynolds cannot be held, or not going to go anywhere. So here's Mark Bailey, the catcher. 2-11, and that's a fly ball to center field plus an injury. So a chance for an injury. He needs a 1-6 to stay in the game. And he does. So Mark Bailey fights off the injury. He will stay in the game. He does fly to center. So there's 2 outs, and Bob Knepper will bat. He uses pitch reading card number 1. Ben, I'm not sure if the trivia gets him or not, but I know he really got upset when I was doing the baby wipe thing about clean as the baby's ass. That kind of got under his skin. So I thought about bringing out a big bottle of wipes up here next time I play the game on Monday. I might do that. He might be lurking, Joel. You never know. All right, here is Knepper with 2 outs. You obviously can't bunt him. He's going to have to hit away against Sutcliffe. Knepper, left-handed hitter. 4-8, and that's a strikeout. So kind of knew what was going on there. And that will end the inning. But the run comes in to cut the lead to 4-2. So we go to the bottom of the second. I agree, Robert. That's what I try to tell him. We're just here having fun. We're not. This isn't rocket science. And if we divert from the game for 2 seconds to do a trivia question, that's not. I wouldn't say that's interrupting the flow of the game where it's unbearable to watch. So. Hello, Mr. Joel Turney. We got both Joels in here. All right, here's Trio. Annie Kingston Trio, 4-5. That's a fly to center. And that's 1 away. Yeah, I'd like to have been in the chat. I'd like to have been lurking in the chat, not known in the chat. But I'd like to have been there just to see what the reaction was from the people who were watching Spokane Steve and his channel. That would have been interesting. All right, here's Sutcliffe. He bats right-handed. I'm sorry, he pitches right-handed, but he bats left-handed. So he's using pitch rating card number 3, but he hits left-handed. So we'll keep that in mind. So it is a lefty-on-lefty matchup. 3-7, however, it's a strikeout. So no big deal there. I agree, Ben. I agree. I'm not sure why he would bring that up in Spokane Steve's chat, because that has nothing to do with what's going on. All right, here is Bob Dernier, 5-5, and that's going to be a pop out to second base. And that's going to end the inning. You got that right, Jeff. No sense wasting brain cells on something like that. Doesn't like what's going on, just don't watch, and that's pretty much take care of it. Now, I did get this 87. One thing I will mention, I did get this 87 set second-handed from, I believe I got it from Moonlight Graham. So it was used. And you can see here, somebody here for Sutcliffe, I don't know if that's supposed to be. I got to check the computer to see if this matches, because they wrote in strikeouts here on 5-10 and 4-7. So I got to pull up. I just thought about this. I need to pull up the computer image and see if that's exactly what it's supposed to be, or were these altered. So let's check out his card real quick. Now 4-7 on Sutcliffe's card against lefties is actually a walk, and 5-10 is actually a walk. So these should be walks. I'm not sure why somebody wrote strikeouts in here. On the card image on the computer, they are clearly walks. So I don't like defacing the cards, but I need to do something, because these have to be walks. They cannot be strikeouts. I just noticed that. Take a picture, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Assuming it can come up here. Let's see if I can get this to show up here. I'll do it this way, so you can see both at the same time, hopefully. And I'm hoping this shows up. It may or may not. Don't want to disrupt the flow of the game, but I think this is important because you're altering card results. But if you look at this, and I don't know how well it's going to show up, it probably won't show up very well at all. But if you see there on Sutcliffe, that 4-7 is clearly, right here, is clearly a walk. There's a 4-6 above it, that's a walk, and a 4, whoops, the wrong button there. I got my snow picture on there. So we had the walk there, and then on 5-10, let's see if I can turn these off. Maybe the glare is what's doing it. I can't tell. Boy, it's just not working out too well, is it? Let's see if I can get this to show up correctly. 5-10, you can see the walk right there. The 5-11 is the home run, 1-17 there, and the 5-10 is a walk there. So I'm not sure who did that or why they did that. Maybe somebody got PO'd because it was too many walks showing up. I don't know, but that's kind of bad to. I have no idea, but you can clearly see this was not a Strat-O-Matic issue. This was somebody wrote this in manually. So I need to make these walks. I got to remember to make these walks. I don't like defacing cards, but it's already defaced in my opinion. So I'm going to have to make this a walk. I know it looks gosh awful, but I guess it's a good thing I wasn't doing an 87 National League replay, or this would have come up a long time ago. That's a C, and this is a walk. But, I want to be accurate. I know it looks horrible. And the 4-8 is a strikeout. And the 4-6 is a walk. So 4-7, 4-8. All right. Terrible, but that's the best I can do. Now, there's no resale value. Like I said, they were already used. So I got some. I don't get Strat-O-Matic for resale value. I get them to play. I'm like Replay Gamer. I get them to be used and to be played. So I'm not worried about resale value. That's why I enjoy paying a little bit less for them, just because they weren't pristine. It didn't matter to me. All right, here's Billy Hatcher, starts the top of the third. Sorry about the thing there getting off topic, but I mean that was important. So. No, the rest of the card, Justin, the rest of the card is exactly what's on the computer image. The only thing that's different was the 4-7 and 5-10, which were clearly written, whited out and written over with the strikeout. And they were clearly walks on the Strat computer, but all surrounding results are exactly what's on the computer. So it's not, it's not like two separate cards or anything. So, like I said, somebody probably just got mad and thought he was walking too many guys. Maybe. I don't know why you do that. All right, anyway, here's Billy Hatcher. I just happened to notice that. It was like, whoa. All right, 4-8, and that's a strikeout. And that's a second strikeout for Sutcliffe. It is bizarre. Like I said, I usually don't like to mark on the cards at all. If I did like to mark on the cards, I would put the wild pitch and balk ratings for all the pitchers that aren't listed here on the cards, but I really don't like to write on them at all. I know Jeff doesn't mind writing on his, but I just don't like writing on mine. I really didn't like doing that, but I kind of had to just to get it straight. All right, here's Bill Dorn. 2-9, and that's a 1 for a triple. Anything else is a single. So Bill Dorn, 2 for 2. And he's going to be looking to get the lead. Needs a 2 through 5. 2 through 5. And that's a 5. He gets the lead, so he's going to go. 18 being held to 16. 1 to 16, he makes it. And he got thrown out. Jody Davis threw him out. Dunston put on the tag with the lefty batting. It would have been shortstop covering. So he is caught stealing. And that out will go 2 to 6 for out number 2. So Dorn is out. Bases are clear for Denny Walling. Denny, that's a 2, so a chance of a balk or a pass ball. We're looking at pass ball on Jody Davis, which is a 5. No pass ball, so here's Walling. 6-3, and that's a ballpark single. 1 to 9, that's a 1 base hit. 2 out single for Denny Walling. Walling will not go anywhere. He'll stay put, and Glenn Davis will give it a shot. One 6, and that's a fly to center, and that will end the inning. But as my mantra has always been, play the game you want to play the way you want to play it. So if you want to change cards around, go right ahead. I've done it with payoff pitch cards. I've changed some defensive ratings manually. I have done that before when I thought the players were grossly, horribly wrong in their ratings defensively. That's one of the reasons why I'm not as much on payoff pitch as I used to be. All right, here is Ryan Sandberg. 5-6, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Reynolds. He's a 4 E21. Boy, it's bad to have a 4 right there in the shortstop position. And with a 3 on the double die, that just cost him a hit. So 4 and a 3 is definitely a single. And at shortstop, that's a 10, and he's an E21. No 10 there, but there is going to be a single for Ryan Sandberg. So Sandberg again stole a base his first time up. Why not try to get the lead again? Needs that 6. Doesn't get it this time, so we'll hold. And here's the Hawk, Andre Dawson, with apologies to Ken Harrelson, but they also call Andre Dawson the Hawk. 4-11, and that's a ground ball first base X. Since they were holding Sandberg on, Glenn Davis will drop to a 5 E13. You always lose 1, or your range goes up 1, which is the worst number. It gets worse by one number when you're holding the runners on. He was holding Sandberg on at first, so he becomes a 5 E13. 5 and an 18. 5 and an 18, he gets to it, but that holding the runner on costs him a chance for a double play. It's just a fielder's choice chance. That's a 13, and he is an E13. 13 and 13, it doesn't matter. He's going to boot it. Glenn Davis boots at E13 with a number 13 on the dice, and he boots it. 1 base error on Glenn Davis. He was trying to move around too fast to get that double play turned and forgot the ball. So Glenn Davis boots it. And now first 2 are on for Jody Davis. One of the best Glenn Berman names of all times, Jody Davis Eyes. If you remember that song. 2-7, and that's a strikeout. That is the second strikeout for Knepper. In Knepper land. Maybe that's a name for him. Here's Brian Dayette. That's a 3-11, and that's a ballpark single, but that's an 18. So that's going to be a line out to short for out number 2. 2 down. Clutch situation for Keith Moreland. And I guess, Jeff, I guess Chuck doesn't like that I say clutch situation either, because I got that from you. Or actually, Bob B is the one that doesn't like me doesn't like it when I take your idiosyncrasies and impart them in my broadcast. He doesn't seem to like that. So I got 2 good fans. I've got Bob B and I've got Chuck. So they're 2 of my biggest fans, I'm sure. All right, so like I said, Moreland in the clutch loses a hit on 3-9. Everywhere else he is neutral. That's a 5-10, and that's a catcher X. We're looking at Bailey. He's a 4E2. 4E2, 4 and a 13. 4 and a 13 for a catcher. That's a P/F, so that means it's a possible pass ball based on the wild pitch rating of the pitcher. That's a 4, and Bailey's an E2, so there's no 4 there. But I use the super advanced P/F where it goes to the wild pitch rating of the pitcher to determine if a pass ball has occurred. So the wild pitch rating on Knepper is a 5. So if we roll a 1 to 5, then a pass ball has occurred. It has not, so therefore it's a foul out to Bailey, and that will end the inning. That's just the way I play it. Some people play it differently. So like I said, that's the beauty of, as long as I say, as long as you're consistent, and play it the way you want. But I think consistency is pretty important to have, to make sure you're not going haphazardly all over the place. All right, top of the 4th. I think it's great you're having that dictated, Jeff. I think that works out really well. Justin, don't tell me you're a Rick Astley fan. I wouldn't want to admit that. That's like being a Barry Manilow fan or something. Or Air Supply or something like that. 2-6 is a ground ball to short. 1 away. But obviously the fact that I knew that comment was referencing a Rick Astley song means I'm in bad shape, because I knew that. So here's Jose Cruz. 3-2 for Cruz, and there it is, Jeff. Do we dare get the wipes out or not? Do we dare get the wipes out or not? It's a 3-2. You tell me. Do the wipes come out or no? It's a 3-2 for Jose Cruz. Looks clean to me, Jeff. I won't say anything about the wipes. I'll just call it a clean home run. How about that? I won't verbalize the wipes. I'll just say it's a clean home run for Jose Cruz, his 3rd of the season. Jimmy, everybody should be themselves. I mean, if my presentation and Spokane Steve's presentation were both identical, what would be the point of me having a channel? I just let Steve do his thing and just watch him, because I'd be watching myself. So, I mean, that's the whole point about having these different channels. Dave Gardner's different than Ron Juckett and RJL. I mean, all these guys have different, Kurt Berglund. I mean, people have different styles. That's the whole point of it. All right, here's Craig Reynolds. Now that Jose Cruz hit the home run to cut the lead to 4-3. Here's Reynolds, 1-6, and he's going to ground it to short for out number 2. 2 down. Yep, and I didn't mention him because he doesn't do streaming as much as he used to. That's for sure. His niche is what he's really good at is the boxing game. When he gets that Glory Days boxing going, that's when he's in his wheelhouse right there. That's a 1. Oh, nobody's on base. Didn't need to roll that. Here's Bailey. 2-6 for Bailey. Struck him out, and the inning's over. Oops, up here. But it's a 4-3 game now. It's the second solo home run of the game by the Astros. Maybe catching a jet stream at Wrigley Field and getting some assistance. I think Al Red Sox is also kind of like Dave Gardner. He's better. He's better to me at the chat and conversations than he is at the games. Not saying he's not good at the games, but their niche or their best things that they do, in my opinion, are doing the chats. That's where they seem to shine. Oh, Kenyon, I've been saying I'm a Miss Replay Gamer for a long time. I wish he would come back. He's got things he's got to do. You know, he just didn't want to do so, but it'd be nice if he did. All right. That's the problem. Some of the guys that I used to like Tabletop Earl, Tenacious Earl, and now Replay Gamer, they're not streaming anymore, and I miss that. All right, here's Sean Dunston. 4-6, and that's a single to right field. Leadoff single for Dunston. He'll be looking to run too. If he can get that lead, needs a 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. 4, 5, or 6. He got the 4. He's going to go. 19 being held to 17. And he's in there. Stolen base for Dunston. Thomas, which Earl are you referring to? Are you referring to Tabletop, Tenacious? Tenacious will pop on once in a while. Tabletop Earl retired, and I guess he got tired of YouTube or whatever and just doesn't do that anymore. Tenacious will come on once in a while. He'll come in once in a while and do a soccer game or something. But yeah, maybe he's got other things to do as well. I don't know. So let's see here. Let me fix this. Something happened here that didn't work right. Dunston with the stolen base, and then we get back to Manny Trio at the plate. I mean, Tenacious was the one who came up with the whole idea behind the Demolition League, or what I call the Demolition League. He called the Tenacious League. That was his brainchild, which was obviously, I thought, a very ingenious thing to do. 3-8 is a single, 2 stars, and with that stolen base, that means Dunston will score from second. Cubs grab a 5-3 lead. And with Trio at first and nobody out, they're going to go with Rick Sutcliffe to bunt. Pitch rating card number 3, but we're looking at his bunt rating, which it does not have on his card. So I got to look at the computer card and see what his bunt rating is. He bunts at a B, so he'll become a C bunter because obviously they're going to expect it. So he becomes a C bunter. But even with a C bunter, they're still going to play for the bunt. It just makes sense at this point. He is a C bunter. See who's going to field it. 2 means it's going right back to Knepper. And now we're in this C category, so he basically needs an 8 or less. 3 is definitely good. So it's a good sacrifice. And Knepper will toss it to Doran covering first base. Out number 1. But Trio now at second base where he's in scoring position. I was not doing too good on the computer here. When I did Trio single, I didn't have Dunston scoring. I had him going to third. So I got to score Dunston. That puts Trio at first. Now we do the sacrifice. 1-4. And now Trio's at second with 1 out. Back to the top of the order for Bob Dernier. I wish they did, Justin. They did have him for the modern seasons, like around 2000, from about 2015, or say 2013 up through 2021. They had their own pitcher hitting cards for the modern type seasons until the universal DH came along. But yes, I do wish they had those. 5-5, and that is a pop out to second. There's a dot there, but he's not tired, so the pop out is there for out number 2. And that'll bring up Sandberg in a clutch situation. How about that, Bob B? I said situation, not situation. I used the regular word situation, just not to offend. And in the clutch, he loses a hit on 1-3 and 110. Also loses hits on 2-5 and 2-6. That's a 2-3, and that is a clutch result. That's 1-3. 2-3 is a fly to right. That's going to end the inning. But the run comes in to make the score 5-3 as we head to the 5th inning. Now, Knepper is scheduled to hit, but I think we're going to have a pinch hitter for Knepper. I do believe we're going to have a pinch hitter for Knepper because Knepper just didn't have it going for him today. So we're going to cap Knepper at 4 innings. He's going to give up 5 runs, all of which were earned. Gave up a total of 8 hits. And let's see, he struck out 2 and he walked. I don't think he walked anybody. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 2. So we'll get a pinch hitter and we'll look at the bench for Houston and see who's available. We have Phil Garner, Dickie Thon, Chuck Jackson from the right side, switch hitter Ashby, the backup catcher, and Terry Poole, the lefty. So it just makes sense that they would use Terry Poole in this case. So Terry Poole will pinch hit for Houston. And then who's going to come in and pitch? Well, they have right-handers Larry Anderson, Aurelio Rodriguez, and Dave Smith, and a left-hander Dave Meads. So coming up for the Cubbies, it's right-handed action. So they're going to go with Senor Smoke. Aurelio Lopez will be coming in to pitch for the Astros. He's a +1, makes him a +3. So Lopez will be the new pitcher, and the pinch hitter is Terry Poole. Terry Poole. No, Ben, they're just behind 5-3, and he got knocked out in the real game in 1 inning. So I'm going to try to give the Astros a chance to get some runs on the board. So it's going to be Terry Poole, Billy Hatcher, and Bill Doran due up for the Astros against Sutcliffe. 4-9, and that's a strikeout. 1 away. And then Knepper hit, he would have done the same thing. Here's Hatcher, 6-5. That's a fly to center field. That is hauled in by Dernier. And that'll send up Bill Doran. Hello, Mr. 09. Good to see you, Mr. Dave 09 or Dab 09. I'm not sure how I properly should address that. 5-3, and that's a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Dawson. He's a 1E4. Since he's a 1, we know he's going to get to it. We're just rolling for the E4, and that's a 14. That shouldn't be a problem. E4 and a 14. Well, a 15 would have been a problem, but not a 14. So he does make the catch, and that will end the inning. So 3 up and 3 down go the Astros. We now go to the bottom of the 5th, and coming on to pitch will be Senor Smoke. Aurelio Lopez. Real season, he was 2-1 with a 4.50 ERA. And he'll be facing Dawson, Davis, and Dayette. We're going to bring in Senor Smoke. Where are you? There you are. No double switch. I mean, there was only, I guess, still got 7 spots before he comes up again, so there's no need to double switch. Although that would drive RJL crazy if I did. All right. Here's Dawson. I don't know about time frame, Joel. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I don't know how long he's been actually doing the games on the Strat-O-Matic. I only found him last year, so I don't know, how long he had been doing it or whatever, whether he did it earlier and took a break or whatever. But Here's Dawson. 112, and that's a fly to center, one away. But I started in 2015. Here's Jody Davis. 6-9, and that's going to be a pop out to second. 2 down. Oops, pop out to second. But I got inspired by Tabletop Earl and Steve Tower. Those are the two guys that really got me interested in this. Here's Dayette, 4-5. Line out to third. Walling's got it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Aurelio Lopez. And we go to the 6th, still 5-3. It'll be Walling, Davis, and Bass due up for the Astros rather. Whoa, hopping dice. We're going to re-roll this. 2-7, and that's going to be a single for Denny Walling. That'll bring up Glenn Davis to 1. So Rick Sutcliffe's wild pitch rating is an 8. 16, no wild pitch. So Glenn Davis will stand back in there. 5-9, and that's a ground ball. Third base C, and it looks kind of iffy on the card. So let me make sure on his computer card that's what it is. 5-9, ground ball second base C, not third base. My bad. That's a 2 there. Ground ball second base C, so that will get the runner to second base. So the runner moves into scoring position with 1 out for Kevin Bass. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. 2-4, and that's going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher Sutcliffe and freezes the runner at second. 2 down. 2 away, and that's going to send up Jose Cruz in a clutch situation. And Cruz in the clutch loses a couple of hits on 3-9 and 3-10. And I think that's it. 3-9 and 3-10. That's a 3-7, though, and that's going to be a strikeout, and that will end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. Lopez has a fatigue of 2, so he's definitely good to go. He pitched a 1-2-3 5th inning. He'll be in to face Moreland, Dunston, and Trio if anybody gets on Sutcliffe. 1-9 for Moreland, pops it up to Denny Walling, 1 down. Here's Schwan Dunston. That's a 1-7. That's a strikeout. And for Lopez, his first strikeout. Bring up Manny Trio. 4-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. We're looking at Hatcher. He's a 2E5. 2E5. 2 and a 14, he'll get to that, no problem. E5 and a 14. There's a 16 and a 17 and 18, but no 14, so good play. So Lopez pitches 2 scoreless innings, but that'll be it for him because he's going to bat third this inning. So Lopez will cap him at 2 innings, and he retired all 6 batters he faced. Almost put a 6 there, thinking 6 batters. No hits. He did strike out 1. So we'll get a pinch hitter for Lopez as he is set to bat third in the inning. So we'll see who they want to use. They've used their left-hander. You don't really want to use your backup catcher, Ashby. You want to keep him in the game. So they're probably looking at, and they don't have much on the bench, that's for sure. They're going to look at Phil Garner to pinch hit. So it's going to be Reynolds, Bailey and Garner for the Astros. Scrap iron Phil Garner, but he did not have a very good 87 season. I think he was pretty much ready to retire at that point anyway. He'd been around a while. He'd been in baseball for a minute. Sutcliffe, he has a 7 for fatigue, so this is his fatigue inning. And he'll be facing Reynolds, Bailey, and Garner. That's a 5-10, left-handed. That's a walk. Not what you want to do when you're up by a couple of runs is walk a guy, and now the tying run comes to the plate. That'll bring up Mark Bailey. Do they pinch hit for Bailey is the question. Yeah, he's a 203 hitter. They're going to pinch hit for him with Alan Ashby. Bailey is a 203 hitter who's 0 for 2 on the game, only had 64 at bats. So they're going to use Ashby, who at 288 with 14 home runs. They're going to pinch hit Bailey with Alan Ashby. So Alan Ashby will pinch hit and then catch in the 7th. So we go to the computer to bring in Alan Ashby. Pinch hitting for Bailey. For 2, switch hitter batting left. It's ground ball first base C. So Trio makes the play, flipping to Sutcliffe covering, but Reynolds will go to second base. 3-1 if you're scoring at home, and by now, you know my philosophy on that. So now we've got Phil Garner in a pinch hitting position. So we'll go to the bench for Phil Garner. Larry Anderson will come in and be the new pitcher for the Astros. So Phil Scrap Iron Garner, your batter. One 6 for Garner. He's going to ground it to Dunston at short, and the inning's over. So Garner fails in the clutch. And now we go to Larry Anderson. He will be the new pitcher for the Houston Astros. Sutcliffe is your scheduled hitter to lead off. He's a decent hitter, so we're going to let him hit. We're not going to take him out. So Larry Anderson, plus they have a 5-3 lead. Larry Anderson, the -2 makes him, well, Ashby, the new catcher, has an arm of +1, so it makes him a -1. So Larry Anderson will be on to, and Sutcliffe is the first guy he will face. Sutcliffe using pitcher hitting card number 3. He may have been Kenyon. He was kind of a character like Tug McGraw and like Jay Johnstone. Kind of a prankster, I think, if I remember correctly, just out of reputation. So let's see, Garner grounded to short, so I need to put that in the computer. Now we go get Larry Anderson. Oh, wait a minute. That was only 2 outs. I did it to myself again, didn't I? I did it to myself again. That's only 2 outs, folks. Billy Hatcher is going to bat. Got a little bit confused there. I don't know how I messed that one up, but somehow I did. But the 6-3 grounder is going to hold the runner there. So here's Hatcher against Sutcliffe. 6-7, and that's a strikeout. So Sutcliffe comes back and strikes out Hatcher to officially end the 7th inning. Now we're back where we ought to be. And Sutcliffe will lead it off against Larry Anderson. We bring Larry Anderson into the game on the computer. So Dickie Thon and Chuck Jackson are the 2 remaining bench players for Houston. And also Alan Ashby takes over behind the plate. So Sutcliffe will swing it. using pitch rating card number 3. Still a 5-3 ball game. Still anybody's game. 3-7, and he will strike out. But it was 22-7 real world, so at least this one's much, much closer. Thank goodness. I don't think I could take a 22-7 game right now. Here's Dernier. 3-7 against the right-hander, and that's a split chance. 1-6 is a single. That's a 20. So that'll be a line out to short. Out number 2. So Larry Anderson retires the first 2 he faces. And that'll take it over to Ryan Sandberg, who is 2 for 3. A couple of singles. 4-3, and that is a ground ball pitcher X. Larry Anderson's an E38. The computer says he's a 3 range. So he's a 3 E38. 3 and an 18, he'll get to that. The E38 and the 10. So again, 10s usually aren't big of a problem, but when you get up to E38, they could be. And they are right here. E38 is a 10. There is an error there. So Larry Anderson boots it to keep the inning going. And Sandberg will be looking to run. Needs a 6. Doesn't get it. He'll hold for Andre Dawson. 4-11, and that is a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Glenn Davis. He's a 4, but again, holding Sandberg, he becomes a 5. So he's 5 E13. 5 and 11. Don't know what's become of that. 5 and 11 is a G3 pound, but since he was holding the runner, it's a single 2 stars. So single 2 stars. That is a 15, and he is an E11. I'm sorry, E13. E13, there's no 15 there, so there's no error, but it is going to put runners at the corners now with 2 outs. And Jody Davis, the batter. Dawson could get a lead, but they're not going to risk it. With runners on the corners, they're going to see if Jody Davis can get it done. 2-7, and he cannot. He strikes out. So that ends the inning. We go to the 8th. Still 5-3. Still anybody's ball game. And Sutcliffe back out for his 8th inning of work. He'll be facing Doran, Walling, and Davis. Due up. Doran, Walling, and Davis. They have left-handed action in their bullpen. Frank DiPino, a lefty, is loosening in the Cub bullpen because they have lefties coming up after Davis. Sutcliffe to Doran, 2-9, and that's a 1 for a triple. Anything else is a single, so Bill Doran, a leadoff single. To get the lead, needs a 2, 3, 4, or 5. Whoa, that one didn't go through there. It's hung up top, so let's try it again. Does not get the lead, so he will hold, and here comes Denny Walling. It's a 1-7, and that's a 1 home run. Anything else would be a double. The double's assumed to go to center field. Doran runs at a 17, being held as a 16, but Dernier's got a +2 arm, makes it an 18. So 1-18, he's going to score. Because if they throw through and don't get him, Walling would go to third. So they're going to hold him there because Walling is the tying run. So it's an RBI double off the bat of Denny Walling. And now here's Glenn Davis. Sutcliffe trying to hold on. To 3-9 for Glenn Davis. That is a line out to second base. He hit it hard, but right to Sandberg. And that's out number 1. And now what do you do here? You got they're going to go ahead and make the move to DiPino. The way they're hitting the ball off Sutcliffe this inning, I believe Jim Fry says, I've seen enough. Well, actually, Gene Michael, not Jim Fry. Gene Michael has seen enough, and Frank DiPino will be coming on. So Sutcliffe's going to go 7 1/3, and DiPino will now be on the left-hander. Turn Bass roundabout right-handed, then Cruz and Reynolds are both lefties after that. Let's see, it's a -3 hold. Makes it a -4. So Frank DePino will be coming on. We'll finish the numbers on Sutcliffe when the inning is over. So we go to the bullpen for Mr. DePino. Frank DePino. Of course, Lee Smith is their closer, so he's standing by. But they're going to see if DePino can get him through the 8th and give Smith a clean 9th inning. So DePino, real world, was 3-3 with 4 saves. 3-3, 4 saves, and a 3.15 ERA. Lefty against the switch hitter Kevin Bass. It's a 2-11, and that's a pop up to third base. That is out number 2. Now you're going to have the lefty-lefty matchup with Jose Cruz against Frank DePino in a clutch situation. And Cruz against the lefties loses a hit on 110 and 3-6. To 4-6, and he struck him out. So DePino does the job. DePino does the job. He's going to go 2/3 of an inning, and they'll turn it over to Lee Smith in the 9th. But he did the job, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. Score still 5-3. Anderson will be facing Dayette, Moreland, and Dunston. But boy, Frank DePino did the job, no question about it. All right, let's get the final numbers on Sutcliffe before we go any further. Clean up his results. So Sutcliffe, 7 1/3 innings, 9 hits and 4 runs. They were all earned. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. And then Lee Smith will come in and pitch the 9th. Anderson's going to come out for his second inning of work. Oh, you know what? They did score a run. Thank you for pointing that out. You are correct. It's now 5-4. Thank you for that oversight. The computer would have told me that anyway, but it's nice to be corrected beforehand so that I can get it straight. All right, so it is 5-4 now. Thank you for that, Ben. Justin, the PC doesn't assign a player of the game per se. They have a write-up. You can set the box score to present a little write-up, and it kind of gives you a player of the game through that write-up, but it does not come out and say player of the game was so-and-so. So, no, it doesn't assign that, but it does give you a write-up. All right, here's Dayette. 3-6 for Dayette, and he strikes out. Dayette out on strikes. So the Astro bullpen doing very well. Here's Keith Moreland. That's a 1-4 from Moreland. Ballpark single, 1-9, but that's an 11. So he will line it to short. 2 down for Shawan Dunston. Bases are clear. 2 outs. And there will probably be a double switch with Lee Smith because they're going to want to bring in a new third baseman for Moreland. Somebody better at third base. 5-7, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Reynolds, a 4E21. 4 and a 6, that's trouble. 4 and a 6 is a base hit. That's an 11, and he is an E21. There is no 11 there, but it is a base hit. That'll bring up Trio. Of course, if it gets to Pino's spot, they'll naturally pinch hit. Leon Durham is not on the roster currently, in case you were curious. I guess he was injured. He's not on the roster at this date and time. So here's Trio. 2-4 for Trio. Ground ball to third, and that will end the inning. So we'll go to the 9th inning with a score 5-4 Chicago. And that'll be all for Larry Anderson because he's going to bat third next inning. So they will finish off with him. And now Lee Smith coming into the ball game. There will be a double switch where Lee Smith will hit in Moreland's spot, the number 6 position, and they'll bring in a new third baseman. Somebody that's better defensively at third. They don't have a whole lot that's better defensively at third, but they will go with Paul Noche. Paul Noche is a 3.37, which is better than Keith Moreland's 4.32. So they will go with Noche. So Noche, and if it goes extra innings, Noche would lead off the next inning. Or if it goes to the bottom of the ninth, rather. So Noche is at third base in the ninth inning. So this is Noche at third base. And his rating, 3.37. 3.37 for Noche. Runs at a 13. Not that that matters. All right, and then Smith goes in that position there. So Noche would lead off if it goes to a bottom of the ninth. Keith Moreland is out of the game, and Lee Smith is entering the game to try to get the save. Big Lee Smith. So let's do that on the computer. We're going to make these moves on the computer. On the double switch. Wait a minute. Why in the... Oh, yeah, okay. Reynolds is leading off. Okay. Double switch time. So Lee Smith will come on and bat in the 6th position, formerly held by Moreland. And Noche will take over at third base, batting 9th. All right, Lee Smith in the 87 season, 4-10 with a 3.12 ERA and 36 saves. So he's going on the replay. He's got 10 saves so far. So he's going for save number 11, assuming he can get it, against Reynolds, Ashby, and then a pinch hitter. And who do they have left on the bench? They got Chuck Jackson. He's a 2.11 hitter. They got Dickie Thon, a 2.12 hitter. So we'll go with Dickie Thon. Very scientific there, going for a guy that hit .001 higher than the other guy. Plus he's a veteran. So it's going to be Reynolds, Ashby, and Thon. So Thon will pinch hit here in the 9th when his time comes. Right now, yes, Trio is at first base. That is correct. Because Bull Durham is on the injured list, so they don't even else to play first base. And there's nobody on the bench that can play first base better than him. So they're kind of stuck with that. I mean, unless we move Moreland to first base. But he's no better. So pretty much kind of stuck there. All right, top of the 9th we go. Lee Smith facing Craig Reynolds, 5-4 Cubs, top of the 9th. 3-6 for Reynolds, and that's a 1-4 triple. But the double die is a 20, so that's a flyout. Boy, what a big difference that was. Leadoff triple would have made a huge difference, but the double die this time decided to go with a high number. So there's one away for Alan Ashby. This will be his second at bat. He pinch hit for Bailey in the 7th and grounded out. 6-6 switch hitter struck him out. Lee Smith gets the K. 2 away now for the pinch hitter, Dickie Thon. And like I said, that's all they have left. They do have Paul Householder on the computer, but he is not carded. And I really don't want to use the non-carded guys unless I run out of players. And even then, Paul Householder only hit .083. So we're not using him regardless. So it's going to be Dickie Thon. 3-9 for Dickie Thon, and he strikes out, and that's the ball game. Lee Smith, a 1-2-3 9th inning. And as some famous announcer once said, Cubs win, Cubs win, Cubs win. So Lee Smith gets the save, his 11th. The win goes to Sutcliffe. The loss goes to Knepper. Lee Smith, 1 inning pitch, gave up nothing, struck out 2. Larry Anderson pitched pretty well in relief, struck out 3. Didn't walk anybody, gave up nothing as far as runs go. Went 2 innings, gave up 2 hits. So we have 5-10-0 for the Cubbies, 4-9-2 for the Astros. Fly the W, Ben. That's exactly right. I didn't go on the computer and bring in the pinch hitter, Dickie Thon, so let's do that now to make it official. He's going to strike out the same as anybody else would have struck out, I guess. So Dickie Thon comes in, and Lee Smith strikes him out to end the game. And then we go to the box score. And looking at the other totals, Astros left on 5, Cubs left on 6. Like I said, doesn't really give a player of the game. The Strat-O-Matic write-up, let's see here, mainly talks about Sutcliffe getting the win. So not a whole lot in the write-up there. So there you go. June 3rd is in the books for both leagues now. And we move on to Monday. I like to take Sunday off, so I'll most likely be doing that again, just to have a day away to refresh. And then on Monday, we're back. First game is going to be from Fenway Park in Boston. The June 4th series will begin, and we will have the first game is going to be the Detroit Tigers against the Boston Red Sox, Walt Terrell against Bruce Hurst, and that'll be on Monday from Fenway Park. I have to finish filling in the ratings and everything, but I got the skeleton version of the score sheet there. So, and then next Friday, the National League game will be San Diego and Montreal from Olympic Stadium. That'll be the game on Friday, because there's only 4 American League games to take care of. And they'll be easily done Monday through Thursday. So there you go. And I am working on another game to play in the evenings, maybe, just to be a little different from Strat-O-Matic. So I'll pick something out. It may or may not even be a baseball game. So I'm debating about trying some other games just to see how they do. And we'll see what happens with that. Or whether I chicken out and just stay with baseball. But it will be something other than Strat-O-Matic. Just not sure what yet. But anyway, I thank you all for spending part of your Saturday with me. Hope you all have a great weekend, whatever you have planned. We'll send our good vibes to Chuck regardless. If he wants to be where he doesn't like to stream anymore, that's fine. I mean, different strokes for different strokes. I'm not for everybody. But I guess I'm for somebody, so as the saying goes. So I hope you all have a great day. If you ordered your Black Friday stuff, any kind of game sets or card sets, I hope they've come in by now. Hopefully they would have gotten shipped to you and received by now, so that you can enjoy those. It's always nice to get something. There's always a nice feeling about having something coming in the mail and unpackaging it or unboxing it or whatever you want to call it. So again, Cubs win 5-4 over the Astros. And that'll be it for me. Oh, cool. History Maker. Did you get a stadium specific, or did you get just like the generic History Maker design? Or we talked about the one that they had on the website, the new one that they were advertising and selling. That was on one of their Black Friday deals, I think. Because there's multiple. I mean, people send away to, I guess it's Ink Gaming or whatever. They can send a picture and they'll make it for them. But I remember the History Maker Baseball was doing one on the website. It's like it had a red tint to it or something. I've got one of the original play mats from History Maker. And I used it for a little while, just not really. I mean, I like the texture of it and everything, but I really prefer the stacking of the cards. Just a personal preference. And especially if you're streaming, it's really, if the other board takes up a lot of space. So anyway, hope you enjoy it when you get it. That's all the part of purpose of being excited about those things. So yeah, Monday, there you go. Detroit and Boston will be the game. So let's see, I think I got this thing over here somewhere. So that'll do it from here. Hope you all uh, have a great weekend, whatever you have planned. I'm going to bring my red, black, and white dice back to normal for the Boston game. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you on Monday if you're able to come.